What a piece of junk!
This is the Shattered Order Podcast.
Go switch off!
If you're looking for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes news, information, and theory crafting, you've found the podcast you're looking for. With your hosts, GoodNightPunk and WinKILLERinc.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 156th episode of the Shattered Order Podcast. I'm your host, GoodNightPunk, and with me, as always, in his new digs, my good friend Wink. But also, right above Wink there on your screen is our other good friend, Grandepatron. We haven't seen you in a while, man. How are you doing?
What's up? Glad to be here. Very glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. There's no chance this episode goes off the rails, which is really exciting. I'll be very curious to hear how this episode sounds because you may notice my new background. First episode at the new place, so yeah. And as Chicken Bottom mentions, first view of Beagle Squadron. My current setup is going to allow me to get video bombed by Beagle Squadron.
Who are literally right there staring at you. Did you forget to feed them?
Nope, just fed them. I don't know what the deal is.
That's awesome. Oh, very nice, very nice. Well, I see some Honolulu blue on your wall. Are you gonna paint it like mine behind me?
No, it's I haven't painted this room. I'm barely living here. I just flipped over my last concrete countertop in the kitchen, so I gotta finish those this weekend. I'm hoping next week I'll have an operating kitchen. That's the goal. So that's how my life's going currently.
Gotcha. Well then, sounds good. How are you guys? How are you guys enjoying the summer heat? I don't know how things are going where you guys are, but it is hot here.
Hot, but not. I mean, it's been hot, but not too bad.
Oh man, you got to get out early, man. If you get out early, it's not hot. It's when you got to not go from air conditioned house to air conditioned car to air conditioned office,
100%.
Back to air conditioned car. That's really the challenge.
That's 100% true. If you get outside nice and early, and you get adapted to the heat,
it's not
even
so
once
bad.
it hits 95, 100, it's not too bad.
I was
Sucks, but
yeah.
not too bad.
I was playing baseball with my kid this morning at 8:30 in the morning. It was great. So yeah, it's totally
it's
doable.
It's always the morning or the twilight.
Sounds
Those
like
are my favorite
such
times
a-
of the day.
There you
When
go.
the sun's going down, you're good to go. So,
Yep. Hell yeah.
well,
Cool.
why don't-
Well, why don't we just go ahead and jump into this first topic? Let's see if the soundboard works, because we did not test before the show.
Hey guys, what did you do in SWGOH this week?
Did it work?
it did work.
I
Sounded
heard
great.
it. It sounded great.
Woo! Very exciting. All right, I was worried that might be a tech issue. So we're off to a good start so far. And so it's been 2 weeks since we had a podcast. There's been so much going on. We've had the Geonosis territory battle. We've had some Grand Arena stuff going on. There's been a lot of time for us to do stuff. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have sure done a hell of a lot. I was on the fence for so long. We got that Gear 13 update, and I was on the fence about what to do. In the end, I ended up taking Padme and Old Daka to Gear 13, which is pretty exciting. My Old Daka has almost 97,000 health. She is a freaking hoss. Can't wait to see how she does in territory battle. Gear 13 Padme, Machine. Had to remod my whole arena team this week because due to the move and everything, like I have not really played arena at all the past couple weeks, but I kind of started playing a little bit more, and so I realized my arena team wasn't doing so well. I was having some issues, as you know, with all these Gear 13 pieces, everybody getting faster and everything. My Padme team, like I was just struggling so hard, so ended up remodding them a little bit. I put a speed arrow back on General Kenobi because I was having issues getting him to go for HK-47. So I got that solved out of the way. And then my other big issue was with a little bit of remodding stuff I did. Ahsoka was going for 3PO, which was very bad. And I fixed that, and boom, no issues. There's a couple teams with Marauder that I have a little bit of trouble against, but for the most part, I'm smashing through. So that is going super well. But I've geared a lot of characters. Like all my bugs are gear 12 now. I added both gear 12 plus pieces to Asajj and you're gonna be impressed, Wampa.
Hell yeah!
Trying to beef them up a little bit. And then I kind of moved some mods around. I made my, as you guys know, I like a fast wicket. Who here can guess the speed of my wicket? Any guesses?
258.
258 on his wicket?
I don't know how fast he is normally, so...
I'm going to guess that your wicket is 305.
Holy shit. Nailed it right on the head. 305.
I was only off 50.
Well done, Grande. Yeah, so my wicket caught my Grand Arena opponent today a little bit off guard. It smashed his troopers, and I barely ended up winning. I screwed up one battle, but I still ended up getting a full clear, did pretty well. So sitting in a good spot for the Grand Arena Championship currently. GoodNightPunk. How's your week been? Your weeks?
Dude, this Grand Arena is happening the exact same way the other exhibition did, because in the first match of the last one, I lost by 10 points, and I lost by 10 points again in the first one this time. So that sucked. I think it was brutal. I think I had 1866 and they had 1876. So it was man, who was it that caught me up? I ended up getting lashed by some... I tried to take Nest in with some random rebels against a Palpatine team. No, it was a random Jedi team with Bastila lead with Nest in it against a Palpatine team that had Nihilus in it. It was a weird team. I don't know what they were thinking. But anyways, the Nihilus got enough time to annihilate 3 times, and so it did not go well. So that caught me up, and that pretty much made me lose. So that sucked.
Wow.
But other than that, that's Grand Arena for you. But I finally finished my droids. I got B1 and Droid. Well, I had Droid Eka 7-star last time we had the podcast, but I finished B1, got him to Gear 12. I actually Gear 13'd Grievous, and. Ooh. So every Separatist droid I have is Gear 12 and about to be +3. So gear 12
Dude, that sounds
plus 3.
That sounds like a lot of stars.
Oh man, it's been fun. This team is really fun. And pretty much the Separatist March goes on. I just gear 12 Poggle, which I never thought I'd say.
Yep,
today.
I did that for Padme. I got that G12 Poggle for Padme.
You're like, hey,
Oh.
didn't see that coming. Surprise. And guess I think in my next Gear 12, the one I'm going to work on next, because I'm going straight Separatist right now until I get them all to Gear 12. The next one is another one that I never thought I'd get to Gear 12. And I have Newt at Gear 11, so I want to get him to Gear 12. But, you know, I did not expect that to ever happen, so we're going there. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what's going on. A lot of Separatists, and that's pretty much
How's
it.
your Brood Alpha farm going?
It slowed down a lot because I kind of realized that unless my Geos have any gear to them, which right now Geospy is gear 8, Sunfox is gear 1, and Soldier's gear 11, and
Gotcha.
Poggle's now gear 12. I figured it didn't matter if I got him to 7-star quicker than later, because I'm still going to be gearing those people up, and whether that he's 7-star or not, I'm not going to beat anything with a gear 1 Sunfox, so I slowed down that
totally
farm.
fair.
So I'm at 45 out of 65, and once their gear starts going up a little more, I'll start pouring more into that. But for now, they're
Nice.
1 refresh a day, and that's all I'm doing.
I ended up buying the Brood Alpha pack, and I think I am 22 shards away from a gear or a 6-star Brood Alpha, so I should get to use him in this first phase of the territory battle. That's my goal.
Me too. I'm exactly 22 shards away.
Very nice.
Twinsies.
Very nice.
Twinsies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Like, I can't think of anything else. I mean, I did finish off Anakin's ship. So,
Nice.
like, the only thing I have left to farm from fleet battles is Sith Fighter, which is at 22 out of 100. And then it's like, I don't know what to do with that energy.
I
that
just
gear.
farm gear. I've been farming gear for so long with ship's energy. It's not even funny.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that's gonna be me very soon. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I finished. And like, my favorites are 2 characters right now: Geonosian Brood Alpha and Vandor Chewbacca. Vandor Chewbacca is 82
man.
out of 85. But other than that, I'm
okay.
like, all I got to do is add another Separatist in there, and that's all I'm farming right now. So, pretty weird.
Nice.
It's a weird time
it's so
in the
funny,
game right now.
I gotta tell you, so I got to the point where all those characters were 7-starred, and I put gear or mod people I'm working on their gear, or I've already selected the right mod and I'm slicing it up in my favorites. So I mean, obviously, right? I still have Shakti when she becomes farmable. I still have Brood Alpha because he is my active rarity farm. But I will tell you that I still have characters that I'm either working on their mods. They are the next one to go to G13, or I'm working on their gear. That's what I end up using as favorites, and I have 14 characters in my favorites.
So
That's a lot.
the only
Well, my
reason I'm at
next
2
data
now
choice.
is
My
because,
next
like
data
you,
choice is also there.
oh, see, that makes sense too. Especially if you don't have one to go, you gotta before you throw it on someone you didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Like a Hera, or the Poggle. I finished him about 2 hours before the podcast. He was my active farm, and that's why I took him off the favorite list. And I was having a conversation in guild chat about who the next one was gonna be, and that's why I haven't put another one in there. I want to do Newt, but everyone keeps telling me to do Sunfox, and I feel like farming or gearing the hardest one instead of finishing the easier ones and then going to the hardest one is backwards for me. I don't know. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to finish off Newt from gear 11 or start at gear 1 on Sunfox right now. So I don't know. One of those two
Yeah,
will be in my
that's
favorites
tough.
soon. But
Decision.
yeah, for sure. So, how about you, Grande? What have you been doing?
So Grande.
So I just finished G13ing 4 out of 5 in my arena team, and I did it without buying that $100 pack. And then
Nice.
and then
What's your arena team?
So my arena team is Sith Empire, but I run Sith Trooper and Grandmaster Yoda on that team. That's the team I run all the time because I have enough speed to put speed on Grandmaster Yoda, and that's it. Like everyone else is going to go significantly slower, but so that gives me a fighting chance, right? And then I actually did Chewbacca and OG Han for my other 2 G13s.
Ooh, good choice.
And the thought there is that I use them a lot as a mallet counter. They're probably one of my best mallet counters besides the Padme team. So I thought, if I can get Chewbacca and OG Han, let's do the first 2 things, right? Let's do our mallet team, and then let's do the teams that we use to beat the other people's Maliks. and then after that we'll go from there. The other thing too is I use the Millennium Falcon every day in Fleet, right? So my thought was let's use characters that we use every day, and since I use them every day and they're clutch on offense, let's use them every day and when they're clutch on offense. So,
and something else I like about that is them getting the extra protection when Chewie attacks. He does the protection recovery. Yeah. It's going to make it quite a bit easier to finish full health and protection. Have you noticed yourself holding better in Fleet Arena with them at Gear 13?
Oh yeah, I've noticed them. I mean, I probably have the highest powered fleet in Fleet as it is. There are times, when my entire squad seems like it, but I've got that team totally decked out. What I have noticed is I very rarely lose. As people got tankier and tankier, there were some times whenever you would get like an RNG dodge or something whenever you brought in Cassian. Well, now if I get an RNG dodge, the other 2 characters that get called in still take out the other person's Millennium Falcon. So I never have this instance where it's like just a sliver of the Millennium Falcon left for the other guys, and then their Millennium Falcon gets to recover all of its health and protection back, and I'm kind of back at square one. Mm-hmm. So I have noticed that it does seem to help slightly, and then of course some people are just scared by the fact that I beat them by 50,000 galactic power on the team. They're like, oh, let's fight someone else, I think sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my deal. I'm kind of working on the same things you guys are, trying to rework my Padme team a little bit, trying to still work on Separatist droids a little bit, and then of course trying to work a little bit on Geonosians. That's really where my main focus is at this point. And and then of course,
what a time to be alive.
You keep, I know, right? The other thing too is what I've noticed is most of the teams that I have ready that can go to G13 are like the current meta and like 1 meta back or like 2 metas back, right? So it's like who's gonna go? Oh well, I guess it's CLS and it's my Revan squad that I ran forever in Arena because that's what's ready.
Yeah, that's what I actually put Gear 12 on.
Yeah,
12
and we can have conversations about how awesome would it be if you do Candorous Ordo or something, right?
Well, see, me and Wink were talking about this.
I didn't have him. I didn't put 5 pieces on that guy.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I wanted my first Gear 13 to be Wampa. The problem became Wampa has no Gear 12 plus pieces on him, and Grievous had all of his because of the health. So I'm like, I could wait, or I can just do this now. And I'm like, I'm doing it now. So
smart
Grievous
decision.
It was.
Yeah.
So
I'm totally with you on that. I mean, we can all of the content creators, RSG, for those of you guys who don't know that are watching, Ranger J 1999, myself, Infinity, and McVenom and Sir Loki kind of run Reality Skewed Gamers. Ranger does the majority of the videos on there, and
On
you know, we
YouTube.
on
Subscribe.
YouTube. Yep, and we could we could make we could all make videos about who are the best characters to take. The problem is they're not the characters you put your G12-5 on.
Mhm.
So you don't have the I have a buddy of mine who just did it. He put the finisher piece on Grievous, and he still doesn't have the other two G12-5 pieces on Grievous.
Ouch.
And so
That's why I haven't put it on him. I don't have those 2 geared or Mark 12
well,
furnaces.
he takes 4 freaking med packs, dude. He is a med pack whore. Like,
well, and even
getting
well, and
into
here's the great
12.5 took forever.
And even if you get the med packs, there's some other pieces that you can only either get from a Sith Raid drop, or
Mhm, yeah.
you can get half of it in the whale shop. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's 4 weeks until I get everything else.
It's gonna be a while.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be a while.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I'm with you, man.
It's very tough. How much are you guys focusing on your Geonosis territory battle teams? Because
That's it for
that
me.
was the primary reason that I took her to Gear 13. Are there any specific characters that, I guess we're going to talk about Gear 13 in a bit, but is there anyone that you guys are seriously considering specifically for territory battle?
I already did mine.
I got to tell you,
Grievous?
Night Sisters are gonna be clutch, right? I mean, that's
100%. Yep.
that's kind of one of my thoughts, especially DACA, especially somebody like Asajj Ventress. I mean,
Yep.
there's a lot of characters in here that are dual purpose, right? I mean, most people put a Night Sister team. They use Night Sister teams in raids. They use Night Sister teams in GA. They use Night Sister teams in TW. Well, if that's 3 game modes. That's I would call that a 3-tool character at that point.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a character and you're counting the number of things that you use them for, and you're going, okay, well, I use them here, I use them here, I use them here, I use them here, then they go. I mean, that's just what I think anyway, right? So you want to look at that and try to get the most bang for your buck out of whatever you're taking. Now, I will tell you, again, I came to the same kind of conclusion where I have where I have the I don't have all of the G12-5 on old DACA. I don't have all the G12-5 on Asajj Ventress. And so you're looking at that going, that's great. I can farm for that other piece, and then I'm still stuck behind the first piece that I was stuck on.
Yeah.
So I gotta go back for that other one.
And like you said with the Night Sisters, they're a team that most people seem to have to go you have to go more powerful than you feel like you should just to take them out in Grand Arena, because if something goes wrong, you're done. I mean, like, you can take your troopers in, which is what I use, and I have my troopers set perfect. But if something goes wrong, and it does not end well. You don't have a chance. And
Totally agree with you. That's especially if someone's put a lot of thought into that team, and how the AI is going to use them. If they've got like that old DACA Zeta, where she gets the and so she's getting a bunch, and they got her set up super speedy, and they go for like a super offense instead of a super potency mother.
Yeah.
There's some time. I mean, you can get Mother Towson really rolling and hitting hard if you put offense on her instead of potency, and then all of a sudden you got to look at. All of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I'm gonna get AOE too, and it's all potency and offense. Now what do I do, right?
Yeah,
So.
and like Mother Towson, I used to do that with her in the raid, load her up with offense, and she would do more damage in phase 4 in my team than Asajj would. I mean, she was my primary damage dealer because of the way I had her modded, and that's a lot of fun. But you mentioned old DACA Zeta. Should I do it? I'm already this far in. I've gone to Gear 13. She has an ungodly amount of health. I'm kind of on the fence about that Zeta. I'm thinking.
I mean, you took her to Gear 13. Why would you not give her the Zeta at this choice.
That's fair.
Because she's
That's
got to
fair.
have a. What's her health at now?
She is at 96,662 health.
And the Zeta is worded how again?
Each time that a Night Sister revives while Old Daka is active, she gains 10% max health stacking.
Yeah.
10% of her 95,000.
Yeah.
9,700 health, basically, every time a Night Sister revives. So
time
every time
zombie
you kill a
dies.
zombie, she's getting healthier.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that Zeta right there saves me in P3 of the heroic of the heroic Sith raid.
Does it?
Yeah, because I mean she can basically take a full blast. Once you've had everybody die, she can take a full blast and she just laughs.
All right, here we go. I'm doing it.
Okay, do it.
Live on the air. Daka Zeta.
All right.
Welcome to the club.
Showing you guys my phone. All right, it's done.
There you go.
She's Zeta'd. I think she's going to be key to phase 4 of the Geonosis territory battle.
Absolutely.
With this much health, even an AoE that wipes out several Night Sisters, and 2 of them are going to revive automatically. Zombie's going to come back automatically. She's going to maybe get 30% additional max health. So you're talking about having to do 130,000 damage to kill her, and that's only going to keep stacking.
Yes.
Do you keep your?
I think she's going to be a juggernaut.
Do you run your zombie fast?
You also notice
Moderately.
It's like, because if you get it fast enough that the taunt's always up, she'll die more often, which would be more.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, there's so many ways to run that, right? You could run that like with a weaker zombie, so she's dying all the time. In that team, there's so many different ways to run that. But anyway, she's good character, good choice. You did good, buddy.
You done well.
Glad to hear. All right, let's go ahead and jump to this.
Since everyone loves a good poll, let's dance through the results and see what you thought this week.
This
Poll
2 weeks,
time.
actually. This poll's been around for 2 weeks now. So some of you that took it last week, the information was a little more fresh on your mind. For those of you that took it this week, it might have been a little confusing thinking about these special missions and what they actually were and what phases. But bear with us. We'll try to remember ourselves as we go here. First question we had was, wow, that was pure Texas there. My bad. Let's start at Hayad. Sometimes it comes out, and I haven't lived there for like 30 years, so I don't know what's going on there. Let's start at the end. How many stars did your guild get? Before I go into what the actual answers were, how many did you get, Grande? How much did you guys do?
So we got 28, and we're on pace to do 29 or potentially even 30 on this next one.
Damn.
So in that case,
That's
you
a lot of
missed
stars.
3, 4, 5 stars. So where were the missed stars at?
So we dropped a star on the 3rd phase. We dropped the middle star by just a smidge, 10 million GP, something like that, right? And so we're figuring more people have their droids done, and then more people can enter that combat mission. More people will have just overall GP, and they'll perform better in phase 3. So we'll get the last star there, I think, and then on day 4, or phase 4, we lost 1 in the top, and 2 in the middle, and 1 on the bottom. So we lost 1 ship. We lost 1 ship star, which I think if we figure out how to go up against a negotiator, we can gain that star back. And then I think pretty much everybody got their butt kicked and missed 2 and 1 on day 4.
Those missions were
of day 4.
brutal.
So day 4 is really that's gonna be the sticking point where I'm like, man, there's no more tricks after that point.
Yeah.
How much? What did we get? We got 20.
We ended up getting 25 stars, but we
was
were
it 25
super
or was
clo-
it 26? I can't remember.
I thought it
I
was
thought it was
25.
Shows how much we remember.
Why hell?
I think we missed.
Gonna make me go back and look. I screenshot it.
All right, go look. I'm curious, but that brings me to another point beyond star numbers here for a second. Can we please get a review phase for one of the only modes that doesn't have a review phase still?
For the love of God.
They're like, I hope you checked
It's
right
so
before
dumb.
it ended, because all that information is gone.
Yeah, there's no more like after action review. It's like, well, how do you know I didn't do my stuff at the very end?
Yeah,
They're like,
no shit.
did we
It's
go back to
it's
look?
so
Did we?
annoying.
How close were we to that last star in the last phase? Nope, nobody knows. Unless they took a screenshot
I
with the
did
minute
miss-
left.
We missed it by that much.
I did screenshot phase 3. We missed a star in phase in the third phase by looks like 17 million. So we're not too far off there. We dropped a star we shouldn't have dropped. Next time, I'm certain we will get an additional star, so we'll get at least 26. And I think we might be able to hit 27. Kind of depends on how things go, but I'm sure we'll be a lot more prepared this time, and hopefully beat some of those missions in the beginning to get some extra currency, because that currency is nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
really
so
boils
the
down
breakdown.
to entering, meeting those entrance requirements, because some of those
That's
are just
the problem.
really screwing with me.
Brutal. So the breakdown in the poll, there were 143 responses. Almost 29% of people got between 16 and 20 stars. The next largest pie was 24 to 26 stars at 22%. And then after that was 15% had 11 to 15 stars. And the 27 to 29 star was only 14%. And then everything else was a little bit smaller than that.
Do you guys find that the information that they relayed from the beta testers actually kind of it actually seemed like it lined up as far as stars go and what to expect before you went in there?
Much better than I thought it would. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was a little bit doom and gloom on it. I was like, guys, I'm not so sure they got their numbers right. You know, we need to, I was telling our guys, I was like, you know, when we first went into that thing, I think I said, guys, if we get 11, I'll be happy. I was like 11 stars.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, and they're like, wait a minute, we're like 230 something mil, and I'm like, we get 11 stars, I'll be happy. Just everybody go in there, do your best. You might get your butt kicked, do your best. And of course, at the end of day one, they're like, oh hey, we got like 6 stars today. We're halfway to what Grande said. It's gonna be just fine.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, we were kind of the same way. We were surprised with the number of stars we were getting, and you know, it's pretty difficult, but I feel like we did overperform a little bit from what I was kind of expecting. I expect that we're going to see the exact opposite of what we originally saw with the Hoth territory battles, in which we had the light side that was, you know, wasn't brutal, but, you know, it was tough. And then the dark side hit, and you're like, how in the hell are we supposed to do anything? Because it was ridiculously tough when it first came out.
Think about how many more light side characters and teams there are.
Yes, that was part of the problem. There weren't a whole lot of dark side characters.
Yeah. So
that makes me curious as far as tuning for the light side one.
Good point.
And I kind of wonder if that's why they decided to go with the dark side first, is because of, you know, when you think about like CLS, Padme,
well, there's a
Jedi Knight Revan, there are a lot of teams that are ungodly good at long battles, at sustaining health and protection. And so they're going to have to find a way to hack down how good those teams are to make it considerably more difficult. Platoons is definitely one way they're going to do that, but I'm sure that's not going to be the only way, so we'll see.
You know, before the GeoTB started about 2 weeks before it, Frostvirus, the guy who makes the poll for us, tried to bet me. He's like, over under 15 stars. You pick which one you want, and whoever wins gets to pick who the other person G13's first. And I'm like, there is no way I'm making that bet. And now I'm thinking about it because we were talking about thinking we'd probably get 20 to 22 stars, and then we got 25. So it's like, man, that was an easy bet. I was just too scared to make. But I don't think I would, even knowing, I still don't think I would have ever done it because Gear 13.
Yeah.
Because him picking any character
Expensive.
to Gear 13, no thanks.
Yeah.
So-
Gear 13, Bodhi Rook, please.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Now I can beat that.
Gosh.
Now I can beat that final Rogue One mission in the territory battle we don't do anymore.
Yeah, no kidding. Save it for the outside Geo. So there were a lot of questions here on the poll. I kind of want to skip to the special mission ones. I assume that you guys can see it on the screen. But I think these special mission questions were kind of interesting. Were you about to say something, GMP?
Nope.
Is it on the screen?
It is now.
Okay, good.
All right. So the Phase 1 special mission, really interesting. 62% of people were not even able to attempt it. The other 38% were able to, but only 32% failed, and only 6%. That's actually rounded down a little bit. 6% were able to beat it. That is crazy.
And for those that are forgetting, the Phase 1 special mission was the Newt Gunray lead
Yes.
with Separatist droids.
Correct.
So
And I think it required them all be 6 stars, 16,500. My B1 be 6-star tomorrow, so.
I didn't complete it. I didn't complete it.
You attempted it, though?
Oh, yeah. I was able to attempt everything. Except
Was
for
it pretty tough? Or?
It was very tough. Again, it was the final phase, and, it seems like you need to put in IG 100 and probably take out Grievous. And I think that there's some modding in there that needs to be done. We kind of started looking at it, and if you do put in, there's some remodding, there's some tooling to be able to use droids, especially not particularly in this one, but in the next one, where you can pick Grievous lead, where you need to make Droideka have higher health and protection than B2. And the reason why is because when you look at Grievous's stats, Grievous puts marked on the highest health and protection droid, and so it's possible that you can end up with damage immunity on Droideka and the mark on Droideka.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so you have to do some kind of finagling with your mods and not make B2 as tanky as you think you should, in order to kind of, I don't know how to, you're kind of short-circuiting the system a little bit by having marked and damage immunity. So there's some tricks, but no, the one where you have to run Newt lead is tough. Now I only have a G11 Newt, and my other droids, while they are 7-star, they're only the only one that's G12 is B2 and IG 100. I still got to get those other ones to G12. So it's definitely tough when you're trying to take in G11s.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, so the Phase 2 special mission, there was 60% who were not able to attempt, 36% who was able to make an attempt but lost, and then an even smaller percentage, 3.5%, said yes, they were able to complete it.
Now
And
the
that
Phase
was
2,
Geos,
that's
right?
that's the Geos with the Alpha Brood lead, where you go in against the Acklay.
Oof.
That's
I thought that was phase 3.
I'm pretty sure that's the special mission
Is
for phase 2. And how you can tell this is because when you look at the little diagram at the top, right? You see how it's got the little arena right there, that big like arena thing, and that's on day 2. So day two is the Acklay. I'm sure chat will correct me if I'm wrong. Chat, am I wrong or am I right? Day 2 is the Acklay.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, they're saying phase 3.
Interesting.
Phase 3 is the special mission where you get Watt Tambor shards. So day 3 is for Watt Tambor. What?
Okay.
What did you say?
Okay. Yep, that's right. That makes sense. Cause I was able to attempt the Acklay mission. Yeah, I remember doing that. It did not go well either. Very bad.
You were able to attempt it without Brood Alpha?
Yes, he's not a requirement.
He's not a requirement. You can go in
okay.
without Brood Alpha. You can go in without Brood Alpha, so you end up putting in Paga
So the Force
lead.
Brood Alpha lead is the phase 3 special.
And four Geos, and effectively everyone that put in 4 Geos with Paga lead. Typically, what happens is the Acklay AOE'd, killed everyone but Sunfac. Sunfac got to take 1 turn, and then Sunfac died. That was like that's what I
remember hearing about that mission. Is like, hey, I finally got a turn, and then I got killed.
Yeah.
It's so funny to think how annoying and obnoxiously hard this is right now, and then how trivial it'll be in like 4 months, and we'll think back and wonder.
4 or 6 months from now, we'll laugh about it.
We'll be like, how did we not figure that out? Or, we just realized that it wasn't meant to be done as a level 85 Gear 12. It was meant as a level 90 Gear 13.
Or a Gear 13 with 6D mods, right? Instead of 6E mods.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh crap! What was I gonna say? Oh, have you guys fought a Brood Alpha lead in Grand Arena yet, or Territory War?
I have in Territory Wars. Yeah, it's
pretty impressive. It's
not
good.
Bad. It's not bad at all, is it?
Yeah, I was shocked. I went in with a short team. I went in with CLS, Han, and Chewie against one. It was all Gear 12 except for Brood Alpha, who's Gear 11 with his unique Zeta. And I thought I was going to get smoked there for a while, but fortunately they only do 50% damage whenever they do their mass attack all the time. But God bless that freaking heal, the constant health equalization and protection equalization is just a pain in the ass.
Agreed.
I've not fought it, but just when we talked about the kit, I knew that was going to be obnoxious, especially if you're not running AOE.
Than I ever expected. It's annoying as hell.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, so back to the poll. The Phase 3 special mission. 73% were not even able to attempt it. Of the remaining 27%, 22 failed it, and 5% were able to beat it. So that is 5% of the people that did this poll were able to get a Watt Tambor shard for their guild.
This is where you needed 7-star, and this is where you needed all the droids. I went in again. This is where I think we need to look at the remodding, right? That the challenge here is that it's incredibly difficult if you have B2 at G12 and Droideka at Gear 11. It's very hard to get it where Droideka has more health and protection, right, than your B2. So it's hard to do that little trick that I was talking about where
I'm gonna check mine now.
And again, this is the Grievous. This is the Grievous one, right? Where he puts the marked. So it says at the start of the character's turn, if Grievous is below 100% health, he dispels all debuffs on himself and inflicts marked on the other healthiest droid ally until the end of the turn. So you have to look at this and you have to say, okay, how do I get this so that I can make Droideka? So for example, my Droideka's health is sitting around 35k, right? And then my B2's health at G12 is sitting at around 35k. But in order to do that, I had to put all health mods. I had to put a bunch of health mods and sacrifice some offense. And then I had to go back over to B1 and sacrifice some protection and some health and put offense on and like potency on instead of health and protection on B2. So it was a little bit funky modding. I can get it to work now. To work the day I tried the thing, right? And there was like 10 of us in a chat trying to figure it out, and somebody was like, what if we remodded and we kind of like put marked on a character with damage immunity? And I was like, oh, that would be super nice, man. That would be super nice if we could do that. And we're like, okay, but it's not going to be optimal modding to do that. Is everyone okay with that? And I'm like, if the other team takes 5 turns and they don't do any damage, yeah, that's worth it.
Totally worth it.
I'm like, that's totally worth it. If I survive to the next round, yeah, that's worth it.
Absolutely. It's and like you said, that's hard to do. One thing that helps is, if you'll put like a 5 dot health primary on say B2 and then go with protection primaries on Droideka, because that offers so much more. That is a great way to kind of help do that. I'm not even relatively close. There's no way I'll be able to do that anytime soon, but I love the strategy, and I will definitely have to try it.
It's definitely it's a totally weird strategy, right? Because now you're modding based on the leader's unique. I mean, it's like, what?
Yep.
I mean, rather than modding just looking at the character and what it should do.
Yeah.
So
that's good theory crafting, though.
So as far as phase 3 goes, getting into that Geo Brood led Geo's team, didn't seem like a lot of people were able to do that one.
Yeah.
So I know for our guild, Geo's has been one of the main priorities that we've put out because you use them in every phase, plus you use their ships, and then also you can get those Watamber shards from them. So really hoping within the next month we're able to see some people actually getting in there and beating that, but we'll see.
So the ships nodes, right, where people were having trouble, we kind of went through this a little bit, and we said, okay, we started looking at ships, and we're like, okay, what is this thing doing? Well, the first thing it's doing is dazing everybody, which superly sucks. So let's make sure so we started looking at, okay, well, how can we cleanse daze? Right? What can we do? Who has an AoE cleanse that's a dark side ship? And then we said, or who has a taunt that can't be dispelled? So at least while everyone's dazed, they're over there banging on somebody. So we were like, all right, it's Houndstooth, but we have to donate so many Houndstooths. And so what we found is Gauntlet Starfighter. You ever notice whenever a character does a wiggle in this game, whichever character does a wiggle, for whatever reason, the wiggle is the most powerful move possible, right? They don't actually, BB-8 does a wiggle, it's a powerful move, right? Fallen Bastila does a wiggle, it's a powerful move. So Gauntlet Starfighter does a wiggle, and if you read what it does on its wiggle, it dispels all debuffs on allies and grants them protection up 30% for 2 turns, doubled for Empire. So what that means is that if you have a Gauntlet Starfighter that is well leveled, which I have a G12 freaking Gar Saxton and a G11 Imperial Super Commando.
That sounds like a waste.
Yeah, well, but
Not now.
Surprise! It's not a waste now, right? Because now, when I get old GK and the negotiator, and he does his AOE days, I can just shake it right off. So
Like
when
Taylor Swift.
I can shake it off. Right. Dude, Millennium Falcon. That's right. The Millennium Falcon does a wiggle, and it's the most powerful move in the game. I'm telling you. Characters that wiggle. I'm telling you. Characters that wiggle. For whatever reason, the wiggle is the most powerful move in the game. Right? I mean, look. I mean, you know, when your spouse does a wiggle, it's pretty
baby,
powerful.
wiggle.
When your spouse does a wiggle, it's pretty powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, and that can be happy or mad. You never know which one you're getting.
You don't know which kind of wiggle you're getting at that point. No,
Wink
but
will know
seriously.
soon.
Seriously though, you know, so what we said is, you know, if you're giving up Houndstooth, don't give up Houndstooth and a good Gauntlet Starfighter. And guys that have a good Gauntlet Starfighter, consider giving up Houndstooth. And then people with really, really cruddy Gauntlet Starfighters, go ahead and give that sucker up. But that was how some of our guys were successful, was with the very obscure, most people don't even care about it, Gauntlet Starfighter ship.
I totally agree. It's a very underrated ship. It's an amazing reinforcement.
It does buff immunity. I mean, it does ability block. I mean, it's
something else that I found that was amazing was Kylo Ren's shuttle and Houndstooth. You can basically make Houndstooth taunt 100% of the time because Kylo Ren's shuttle can fill up
Pull
turn
off
meter.
the turn meter.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is like, yeah, you can take his turn meter to keep him taunting longer, then you can give him turn meter whenever he loses his taunt. You can go long ass times with, you know, just manipulating that turn meter with those, and it is absolutely awesome. I highly suggest you guys try that if you have a good shuttle.
Everybody's typing in the chat the different wiggles, which are super OP moves.
Yes. All the wiggles.
All the wiggles.
Now I have Juicy Wiggle by LMFAO in my head.
Thank God I don't know it because it sounds annoying.
Go find it. It is annoying.
All right, so one other thing, kind of the final thing from this poll I want to discuss is the platoons. The platoons were really interesting. We basically had 4 answers as far as, here are the 4 answers that you could have answered on the poll. Our plan was to fill them as much as possible. Our plan was to fill them to our best ability. I don't know what our plan was, or our plan was to assign only tunes that we did not need for combat missions. And 56% of people said their plan was to fill them as much as possible. That was basically our goal as well. 32% said their plan was to fill them to the best of their abilities. Now that leads into the next question, which I think is really interesting and a good thing to discuss. Do you feel like the tunes spent on platoons were well spent? Because 60% of people said no, they weren't. What do you guys think?
I think that those people that spent them don't realize what happens when you don't spend them. Because I happen to play a 125 million GP guild's GeoTB and our guild's GeoTB. And the difference when you don't have those things filled with when you do is enormous. Like the amount of, like, there is a move, if you don't disable it, does massive damage and will instantly kill 2 or 3 of your people. And like, if you don't disable that, which is the phase 3 of the platoon, you're going to wipe when they shoot that at you. Like, if you don't use them and get that gone, then you're never going to be hitting the 4 out of 4 on the phases because they're going to take out a third of your team instantly. Like, they don't feel like they're well spent until you don't have them, is what I'm saying. Because playing both sides of it, it was nasty from the 130 million GP guild side of things compared to where we were. So in my opinion, seeing both of them, I do think it's worth it. It definitely handicaps you, but overall, I think it is worth it.
So we had a guy. We had a guy who on day one didn't wait until platoons were filled to do all of his combat missions and his special mission. Like he did like what this guy's a surgeon, right? And doesn't check Discord a lot. And he just did his platoons and then he went in and did his combat missions just like he does on day one of Hoth, right? and he came back and he was like, oh, that was bad. Like that was really bad. That was like, and I was like, I really need for you to check Discord. Make sure you turn the notifications on for this channel, so that way you don't do that again. He's like, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't mess this up. And I was like, you're gonna be fine. And then I was like, what was it like? And he was like, well, that B2 thing he didn't summon, and I was like, okay. And he was like, and I pretty much got wiped in the first turn every time. And I was like, I could tell.
Yeah, it looked nasty.
Yeah, nice. It was bad. He said it was really bad.
That brings me. Well, Wink, go ahead and tell your opinion, and then I got another question based on platoons for you.
So I think the reason people are down on it is because primarily that Hailfire ability. There were a lot of issues with people having debuffs not landing. The tenacity is ridiculous in this territory battle. And I think that's the main thing that people were kind of concerned about.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. You need to do the platoons. They are absolutely important. That B2 is unbelievable. He is an absolute requirement.
Okay.
Do you know too? I think it matters who summons him. By the way,
this is what I was about to ask, because to me, that guy, he must be doing some things behind the scenes, because his damage is just
so.
Why does he exist? So
I think it matters who summons him. I really do. I really think it matters which character summons that thing.
I can see that.
So it's interesting you bring that up, because Brood Alpha, he was the first character they brought into the game that has summons, and his scat still to his summoner, or who he summons.
Well, and the only one that summons, Brood Alpha, when he summons the Brute, right? Those stats on the Brute are based on the Alpha Broad. I don't even know. I'm like messing it up. Alpha Brood is Alpha Brute is based on Alpha Brood. There we go. And so this thing in the we've had this before. When an ability is done by a certain character, it deals more damage. Like for example, in the Hoth ability, we have the same thing is true with that cannon that blows off on phase 4. It depends on who uses it, so you need to make sure you have an attacker use it. I think you need to have an incredibly highly tanky character call in the B2. Like, don't have B1 call in B2. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a great choice, right? It needs to be something like Grievous calls it in, right? Or like Vader calls it in, or like Malik calls it in, right? Something where it's, where it's a character that's like tanky and does some damage. Otherwise, I think this is all a theory here, guys. But right now, as we're going through it, that's the theory I'm going off of.
I'm gonna have to play around with that idea.
I think I agree.
Because
we'll run some tests and see how he does compare.
He seems really limp sometimes, right?
Yeah, it's like depending on who totally pulled him out, I guess. I don't remember who I was using to summon him, so I don't really know what it was. But when he'd do his AoE for 4K against, guys with tenacity over 100, it seemed like. It's like, well, okay, this is pointless. But it did seem like there was some kind of effects that he also did behind the scenes on some of those abilities. Like, I need to go back and look at him, because it seemed like he would keep them from regaining health somehow, or just weird.
I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I'm just saying there's part of the man. I should rephrase that, because DJ Cool J or DL Cool J is giving me crud about my conspiracies. I think there's something here we didn't fully understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the basic gist of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I think we're in agreement on this. It makes sense based on everything they've ever done. It makes sense based on the new mechanic that they brought out with Brood Alpha. None of this would surprise me at all. Maybe GoodNightPunk and I can, like in phase 1, we can summon him with different characters. Like maybe use the same team, just summon him with a different character and see what kind of results we get there and compare. That would be fun. And just kind of see how that goes.
See, okay, here it is. Barrage. B2's ability that starts on cooldown. The one when you finally get it and you hit it, you expect it to do a bunch of damage, and you're like, all right, this is good. I finally got this ability to unlock, and then it hits for 4K, and you're like, now I have to wait 5 turns to hit for 4K again? Like, this is what I think's happening, and I don't know if it's a visual bug or what, but a lot of the times after he would do that barrage ability, it seemed like no one was getting healed, but they didn't have any, like literally nothing happened to them. There were no buffs supplied, no debuffs applied, but they weren't healing themselves on their turns, despite all the debuffs on them, or all the dots that were on them. And that barrage ability inflicts healing immunity for 2 turns, and yeah, it inflicts healing immunity, but I don't remember ever seeing heal immunity hit on those characters. But that was the only thing I liked about B2, is it seemed like he was keeping them from healing, but I never saw a debuff land. Do you guys remember seeing debuffs land from this guy?
No, I very rarely. I think I saw it a couple times with the Night Sister team. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
This again, I think it matters which teams are on the other side, right? It matter, so some of these characters like keep it where their speeds are all kinds of, like certain ones are like the clone commander makes all their speeds stay at one spot. Another one gives them all tenacity. I mean, the kill order on how you kill them and when you do certain abilities matters. And of course, nobody's experience is the same. That's the other reason why it's hard to test, right? Mm-hmm. Is because the final boss that you get at the end, somebody gets Mace Windu, somebody else gets Shakti, somebody else gets like Kit Fisto and Eth Koth with like Ayla Secura, right? And so and so all of a sudden you think, oh well, everybody, this one is so easy. You make sure in the farthest to the left combat mission, everybody uses Night Sisters, and someone's like, I got wiped, and I'm like, you have the best Night Sisters. How did you get wiped? Well, because he got Shakti in that one or whatever, right?
Because Padawan Anakin was there, and he one-shot me with an AoE. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I didn't see Padawan Anakin.
Yeah, or they come in and they got like 4 ARC troopers, right? I mean, that ARC trooper is no joke, right?
Pawns,
He's
man.
freaking dangerous.
I'm telling you, Pawns is the worst character to fight
He's
against.
a pain.
Pawns is dangerous. ARC trooper is dangerous.
Yeah.
The medic is kind of, it's like I'm not saying the medic is your first kill thing, but you always got to have in the back of your mind, okay, I killed someone. Now, quick, let's go control the medic so he doesn't revive the guy we just killed.
The only reprieve there is the fact that he takes all of his own health away. So you're like, all right, kill him. Now at least he won't do it again.
So some of the characters have 100% counter chance when they have protection, and then have 100% offense when they don't have protection. And so
pick your poison.
And then they expose. Everybody's talking about the Fish Lee guy, which is a different character than what we saw in the Padme event. But that guy had 100% counter chance when he has protection, and exposes on basic. And then whenever he doesn't have protection, he no longer counters, but he now has 100% offense. I mean, you really got to go in here and read the kits on these characters. It's way different than what we and how they interact with each other. I'm glad this event's not on a timer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's no freaking
kidding.
Dude,
can you imagine like So they made a mistake, and it was 36 hours of phase on the first one. I don't know when or if that will get fixed, even though it's not supposed to be 36 hours. But
Can I just tell you, I kind of like it.
So do I, man. I do not want it to go back to 24 hours. I can deal with 36. You remember back in the day when original territory battles, they were supposed to be 12?
Supposed to be 12 hours.
They were supposed to be 12 hours, and then they accidentally made them 24, and then it just stayed 24 forever.
Well, they made it 24 to give us a chance to get used to it, and then they were to scale it back. People were pissed about it, which is going to be the same thing that happens here. They're going to try to scale it back from 36, and we're going to be like, no. We like that 36-hour phase.
I gotta tell you, it was a real breath of fresh air to have the 36 hours. Because then it gave you 12 hours. I mean, it kind of broke it up nicely. 12 hours to get everybody in to do platoons from all over the world. 12 hours to do combat missions, and then 12 hours to deploy. And it seemed like it broke it up into manageable chunks. So
yep, I like it.
I like it. In chat, they're talking about the Elite Fives. Yeah, that made it where Night Sisters can't revive. I know. It was insane. You really have to know what the characters do. You really do.
It's crazy.
All right. So let's go ahead and just talk about the GeoTB in general.
Well, I just want to throw out one thing here that someone said in the "Do you have any great tips or successes you would like to share with the podcast?" And I completely agree with this comment. It said, just freaking enjoy it. Finally, some in-game content we have to work for. And I completely agree. Yeah. I don't think everything should be beatable the first day. I like the challenge of it. We're sitting here talking about things that we're just remembering. We don't know off the top of our heads. Everything is new. It's hard, and you got to work for it. So I'm all for that. Enjoy it. Eventually it'll be trivial, and we'll all hate it, how easy it is. And we'll wish it were still at least somewhat of a challenge, So enjoy this mode, even though it seems impossible right now. I don't know. I like a challenge. It's fun.
Agreed. So that's kind of your overall stance on TB, right?
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. It was a challenge. There's a couple of things they probably need to tweak, but I mean, compared to the last TB they brought out, the Dark Side Hoth one, this is super awesome. I mean, they did a great job.
I agree. It's fun. It's challenging. It can be demoralizing and make you think you don't have a chance, but there are solutions, and I think that's what we should talk about. Were there any teams that you guys found a lot of success with, or teams that you feel like you could have success with in the future?
Why don't I start with a team that you should never use?
I like it.
Okay, we had no one that had success with Imperial troopers. We had a couple guys with G12 troopers, and the problem was, they gained protection back and they gained turn meter on death, and the character and the ads you were fighting were so tanky, they never got a lot of their extra buffs that they would get upon death. So, G12, all maxed out, troopers did not seem to do very well. And one team that I think did do fairly well is there are some teams that, as long as you don't see Mace at the very end, a Jango Fett lead with a Bosk seemed to do really well. But again, you're kind of rolling the dice. So Jango Fett, Bosk, Wampa seemed to do really well. The part where you're rolling the dice is about I'm not going to see Mace Windu, and if you do, you just know it's a 3 of 4 instead of a 4 of 4.
Interesting. So why Jango over Bosk lead?
So it's the speed, and then it's the fact that you can definitely get the payout, which means that if, for example, Zam dies or Greedo dies, they at least get to come back one time, right? So you're getting that revive if you didn't have the taunt up when you should have. I'm not saying it's perfect, right? But if but we were trying to kind of like saying, hey, if you're giving up Night Sisters, you're giving up every Night Sister you've got. If you're giving up, your Triumvirate, go ahead and give all of them up, right? So, and then, but once you've given those up, but once you've given them up, don't give up more. Like, don't give up Night Sisters and Triumvirate. Don't give up Night Sisters and your Sith Empire team. If you're giving up Sith Empire, you're done. Thank you for the platoons. Now go try the extra team. If you're giving up a Malik because we're on Malik Day and you give up Malik and 2 little ones, then try that team with a double tank. One of the examples that we used was what could replace Malik? Well, maybe Kylo Ren and First Order Stormtrooper. 2 tanks for the price of 1, and I know they don't get the bonus, but were you really going to use First Order anyway? Those were
They're not great.
Yeah, I agree. But
my First Order is pretty jacked. They're all Gear 12, and my crew was able to make it a long ass time, but in the end, they can't kill anyone. I totally agree. I think both the Kylos could have pretty good success in different team comps as plug-in, fill-in characters, rather than actually being a First Order team.
Correct. And so
especially if you got that Zeta on Kylo to where he taunts at the beginning of every match, because each phase you go into, he's going to open with a taunt, which is absolutely huge.
So those were the type of. So we tried to take some, because you ended up with like more Maliks than you did like Bastila Fallens, right? Nothing was totally even. Mm-hmm. So we tried to come up with like, here's mostly what people gave up. So here are the plugins that you can use for the other team.
I mean, I'm looking at the dark side characters in general, and there only really leaves a couple more teams beyond that we haven't even really talked about, and that's Empire. And then
I'm about to go there.
Yep,
Empire and who was the other one? Well, Empire's one, and God, who am I looking at here?
I have no idea. Let me talk about Empire while you look.
Well, I was thinking Old Republic, but it turns out they're more light. They're all light sides besides Canderous. So
I want to talk about Emperor Palpatine specifically because I think he is far and away the best leader for this territory battle. He's amazing. I gave up my Darth Revan, I think, every platoon, and I had no issues really, with the team that using the characters that would typically be with Darth Revan. I took Bastila Fallen because of her unique ability. She gets a lot of potency. Then with Emperor Palpatine, the extra potency, you have the extra health, you have the turn meter game, which is absolutely crucial with the amount of debuffs that Bastila Fallen puts out. So Emperor Palpatine, Bastila Fallen is an amazing core if you give up Darth Revan. If you give up Darth Revan, do not give up Bastila Fallen. Throw her with Emperor Palpatine, you'll be fine. There are a lot of different team comps you can use using those two. Darth Nihilus is one that is amazing. What I love doing with Darth Nihilus is because of the number of characters, the fact that there's generally 6 enemies, it's really quick to get his Annihilate up, but I would always save it to go into the next phase.
Agreed.
And that is super important when we go into phase 4. If you can go into phase 4, you have the turn meter advantage, you have Annihilate ready, and you can take out Padawan Anakin, Padme, Fish Jolie, or whoever, or Shakti, whoever. That it makes your life so much easier by doing that.
Agreed. 100% agree with you there. When you're going back to that Empire team, I think that Tarkin is underrated in this event. One of the things I'm going to say is First of all, Tarkin by himself stacks
He's another
potency.
one I use
He
a
stacks potency, right? He's gonna get potency from a Palpatine lead, and then you got to remember he puts offense down and crit chance down on the enemy. And so if you'll stack him with like 90% potency, he's going to be at like 120% potency. Then he's going to stack potency. You can get him north of like 180, 200% potency. So what happens whenever you do that is he literally landed 5-way offense downs, crit chance downs and then he got 100% turn meter because it was under a Palpatine lead, and then he was able to do his AoE again and remove turn meter from everyone, and then it was his
amazing.
And then it was his freaking turn again. And so again, this goes back to what we were talking about before about you had to mod for the event, and it's not necessarily speed in every case. So, and of course, a lot of people are not out there rocking G12 Tarkin with double Zeta or with a Zeta on his unique. They just, for whatever reason, they weren't part of that Executrix meta in ships, and they don't have it. I will tell you, it was very advantageous for me to have Tarkin under that Palpatine lead.
I don't have the Zeta on Tarkin, but he is so good. That's also an amazing team in Grand Arena because of the turn meter removal, and it can give you a really big advantage. That's a team I love, along with Vader. Mm-hmm. But two characters that I want to mention that I know a lot of people probably have geared because they have been past meta, and I think I seriously think that in this territory battle, these two characters will be a key to going 4 for 4 in Phase 4. One of them is Darth Maul. And the reason is he has an AoE daze, which means no counters, no assists. He also has an interesting unique ability. Here's his unique ability. Darth Maul gains 20% max health. Gains max health equal to 10% of the damage he deals, and potency equal to 0.3% of his max health. He gains potency equal to his max health. There is a great way to manipulate that, especially if you have one Gear 12, to stack up his health, and with the fact that he continues gaining max health can be really important for landing the debuffs against these ridiculously high tenacity characters. So he's a character that I really want people to think about. And the other one is going to be Darth Sidious. Darth Sidious, let's see. His unique ability gives him 50% potency for I believe that's part of his Zeta ability. But the reason I like him so much with an Emperor Palpatine is because he does healing immunity on basic. He has an AoE that does damage over time and expose, and can inflict additional damage over 2 additional damage over times on a critical hit. So he can inflict a lot of debuffs, and for a character that has bonus potency and inflicts debuffs is going to be amazing on an Emperor Palpatine team. So if you have those two characters, Gear 12 or whatever, and you're wondering where to put them, throw them in with an Emperor Palpatine lead, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Oh man, I can't believe we're actually telling people, hey, maybe think about Sid again. That's so long ago. I mean,
well, it's funny because they're so
him for the heroic AT, and it was good for what, a month?
Hot minute, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
what, JP?
I was just gonna say it's always good if you can find the time to gear these guys, and since they're older characters, they're a little easier to gear. They don't require as much as the other ones. It's always good to have those because when you are able to plug and play into a Treya team some more Sith, or if you have Canderous and you have to give up Malik, you can plug Canderous in under Malik. Things like that work out. Having backups that are easier gears is always a good plan to have, especially since it gives you more freedom in your platoons, because if you just have 5 guys geared and they're to finish off the platoon, you're the last guy that can give this guy, and it's going to drop your team to 4 out of 5 and throw in a 5th that pretty much crushes the team. Having that extra 5th that's decent to put in there is a really good plan, and especially when it's, like I said, those older characters that we've talked about, that gear ranking list we have, where a Sidious or a Maul, characters like that are always usually at the top of that list, which is why when at the top of the show we talked about me gear 12ing Poggle. The only reason I chose him to be geared first was because he was on our gear tier list or whatever. He was number 4, so it was like I knew it was going to take me 3 or 4 days to gear 12 him, and then go
And
from
he's
there.
really easy. Yeah,
So,
you make a good point.
if you can find some of those characters that can plug and play, that are easier gears, then I'm all for it, especially when they have such utility, like having the health or healing block, heal immunity on the basic, those things like that. So I like that. That's a lot of good. And I'm fully on the Tarkin train, even though mine is gear 8 on my main account. Before I had to give up my old alt account to some friends, my arena team was a Palpatine lead, and I had a gear 12 double Zeta Tarkin in it, just because that Tarkin, even back then, Tarkin under Palpatine lead was just always amazing. All the debuffs, the turn meter reduction, throw the potency on there. I mean, it always has been, but the thing is, a lot of people don't gear him or don't know or forget. He's always been a really good character, and then he also has a capital ship that no one ever thinks about. So he's a really good one to
100%.
gear. And it's funny, I'm gonna go look at the gear list and see where he ranks as far as how hard he is, because I don't think he's that hard to gear.
Nah.
But let's see.
Going back to Night Sister, I kind of tested both leads, Mother Talzin and Asajj Ventress. And I don't know about you guys, but I had much better success with Mother Talzin lead, primarily because people die a lot, and being able to revive them on basic is absolutely amazing. I didn't feel like the turn meter reduction and the turn meter game for the Night Sisters under Asajj Ventress was all that great. So I've pretty much settled in. I'm just going to use Mother Talzin, use her leader ability, and be content with that. What do you guys think?
You're just going to say that again? You're just going to do Mother Talzin?
I think it depends on
she's the one that
way
I'm
your
gonna
team's
use
modded.
primarily as the leader.
I think it's
And
going to
that's-
boil down to
that
team
could be it.
modding. Because
The other thing, though, is Mother Talzin also gives the plus 50% potency,
Yes.
which helps a hell of a lot. Her leader
see, I didn't
ability
I
is-
didn't feel like it helped at all in phases 3 and 4. It seemed like it seemed like whether it was Talzin lead or Asajj lead, those plagues were not dropping even when I used special abilities. And then on top of that, at least under Asajj, I was getting the speed so they could attempt to do it more often. See, I was using Asajj just because it didn't seem like those plagues were ever landing for me.
Forsuero brings up a great point in chat also, is because of the high tenacity of these characters, so Mother Talzin gives the 50% bonus potency as part of a leader ability, but more importantly, when an enemy resists a detrimental effect, Night Sister allies gain 5% turn meter. So say on an AoE, where no debuffs land when they should, I mean, that's 25% turn meter or more in these battles since there's often more than 5 characters. I think that could be really big.
See, if you're able to get that turn meter rolling so you don't have to worry about adding speed under a Saj lead, then that's good. But the problem is you're being resisted, so you're not getting what you want besides more turn meter to be resisted again. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's like a spiraling down the drain.
It's a never-ending circle of frustration.
It's
maybe
like,
this
it's
time.
Like you're slowly spiraling down the drain. Maybe with that one, I don't know. It's almost like we need a Night Sister with like stacking potency.
That would be nice. Yeah.
That would be nice.
But I was really surprised with Mother Townsend's lead. In Phase 4, I switched to Asajj Ventress. I don't think I'm going to do that again. I'm just going all Mother Townsend all the way. And I'll tell you this. I plan on going 4 for 4 in Phase 4 this time.
This is true. So, Fusuro says it. The debuffs do start landing when you start getting tenacity down. And the other one, too, is Spirit. Spirit has Spirit has one of the highest potencies in the group, just kind of like hanging out, or like her thing doesn't go through the potency tenacity check, something.
My Gear 11 Spirit has 56% base tenacity or potency. And she would gain 3 more by going to Gear 12. Then she probably gains some in Gear 12 as well. So that's a pretty good amount of potency that she can have. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like they designed it to want all your low-geared characters to be the best ones. They're like, come on.
Yeah.
You want me to use Spirit? Maybe I
yeah.
should get her off of level 53 in Gear 2. Of course.
Maybe you should, yeah.
Yeah. She has that stun, which is amazing.
Dude, stuns are key in this. In landing stun in this is awesome. I can say that much for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gets rough. And if you can keep Arc Trooper from adding Fortified on anyone, do it.
Yeah, that's no good. That's annoying.
I don't.
It's
any
funny.
other you look at the dark
that you guys
side.
tried that you liked a lot?
Well, I'm like looking at the dark side list, and there's really 5, 6, 7 teams total. Because you got you got the Geos, which is a team that most people will end up having because they're going to gear them up to get Wat Timbre shards. You'll have the Separatist droids, right? And then you have Sith Empire, Night Sisters, First Order, Imperial Troopers, Bounty Hunters, and then maybe you can form an Empire and another Sith team. So there's about 9 total teams that you could build there. And I really don't know which one of those are really the best. Besides a Sith Empire, obviously, the Separatist droids do really well, but the problem is you're not going to end up getting to use them often for combat missions because they get used in a lot of special missions. And then the Geos, same deal, so you're working with Night Sisters, Empire, First Order. And it's funny, contrary to what you said, Wink, I've had quite a few people tell me their First Order were going 4 for 4. So I don't know if it's a modding issue or they're just modded differently, but they seem to be doing rather well with it. So I haven't tried it. I might First Order stink.
In what phases? I would be curious as to what phases they're referring to.
Okay, our good friend First Order Wookiee and how he loves his First Order. Mm-hmm. He was talking about phases 1, 2, and 3 is when he used them. I don't think he did well in 4 like anyone did, but
I went 3 out of 4 with them in phase 4. it started out really well, and then it peters out very quickly. Just
3 out of 4 is
because,
better than any team I
you
had
kinda
in
have to
phase
keep the
4.
thumb.
So I'll say that couldn't get past 1 out of 4 with any team in the last one. Now, granted, I gave up Malik in the phase 4.
That was
but...
phase 3.
Oh, okay. Now I make more sense.
I did go 3 out of 4 in. I went 3 out of 4 in phase 4 with Emperor Palpatine. It was Emperor Palpatine, Scion, Darth Nihilus, Traya, and someone else. I can't remember.
I think
who.
I did. I think
got
I
a
did
video
go
of
3
it.
out of. I went 3 out of 4 on one, but that was it. And I think I went 2 out of 4 on a couple, and that was it. But there was a couple, and then of course I was running a second account in our guild with a guy who has better mods and better teams. And you're gonna laugh about this. I actually did worse with his better roster than with my own. And I was like, how is that even possible? So it just means there's some kind of an RNG. He had a family emergency and gave me his login credentials to help him out just for the last day, right? And I was like, oh, how did I do worse with a better account than I did, and I did better with a worse account? So I feel like again, there's some of this stuff that we're just not getting.
You don't know the mods that
There's
well.
also a screenshot of you above him on the leader rankings, right? That you now have.
I know.
You're like, forever, I'll keep that to show to him.
Yeah, it was just like, he should have done better. Like, what?
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
sure.
I don't get it.
One other character I kind of want to talk about. Imperial Trooper is kind of worthless, but Death Trooper specifically,
I could see that.
he has a lot of really good stuff in his kit that is amazing.
Yes.
So his basic ability has daze,
Yes.
which is amazing. And then if they're already dazed, he can then stun them. His AoE does heal immunity, and if they were not buffed, they had their cooldowns increased by 1, and it cannot be resisted. So he has a Darth Nihilus-like ability to delay these massive AoEs and things like that. And once you get someone down, Death Mark. Death Mark is obviously a death sentence, and a couple shots, and you can take out literally any character.
And he's
That's a
tanky.
great point you just made up. That's a really great point you just made up. Right. Just because the troopers aren't good altogether doesn't mean we can't pull from that group to fill in some holes in some other spots. Totally.
I mean, he
agree.
can fit right under. Right, he fits
100%.
right in under Palpatine because of the fact he does do debuffs.
Yes.
So right there on the basic,
Yep.
as well as on his special with the death mark. So.
And something else that I like to do with Emperor Palpatine is once you get a lot of debuffs stacked up on one character, try to target them down because all those debuffs disappearing gives you a ton of turn meter. That's one advantage of Death Mark is it allows you to kind of knock someone like that out really quickly and regain a lot of turn meter for your team. I'm going to have to use him a bit more next time. I don't think I use Death Trooper at all, but he is definitely going to start going into lineups, I think.
Alrighty.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to talk about specifically regarding the territory battle?
Right
You
now,
did good.
right now, you can go into the game and read everything about it that we've talked about. Like everything that your B2 does, everything that certain NPCs can do, pretty much anything that can happen in the territory battle coming up, you can read now and be prepared when it opens. So if you don't know what the medic does, if you don't know what the Elite 5s or the Elite Shakti / Padawan Anakin Pawns, any of them do, it's all in there right now. So if you want to get ahead of the game, you can go read it right now. So I know that I'm going to go check out a few things because I have a priority list for characters I go after, which include almost always going after medic, the sharpshooter, because he, with his mark, pretty much just kills anything.
Dangerous.
Yeah, if he gets a
Agreed,
mark on
agreed.
someone, you better hope that you can keep that person alive, because there's a pretty good chance they're going to focus him down. You just want to look at what the NPCs are so you know who you're going to target first. Because if you target the wrong order, you can end up doing much worse in a combat mission than if you were to kill everyone in order and get to 404. So all that information is in there right now. A lot of people don't ever bother going to look at the detail tab of the territory battle, but it's literally all there for you to read right now. So go check it out if you haven't.
Heck, it's a great read, even if you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to get 4 of 4. But if you could go from 1 of 4 or 0 of 4 or 2 of 4 to 3 of 4, or just get one more section done, that you get partial credit on these combat missions, and the amount of bonus, the amount of GP or whatever we want to call TB points you get for even going 3 of 4 versus 2 of 4 is massive.
Yeah, it's huge. So if you can give yourself that advantage by just knowing a little bit extra information, yeah, you're good to go. So I wanted to. We've been talking about Gear 13, and I want to talk.
All right,
real quick. I want to ask.
Hold on. I'll play something.
Hey boys, do you have any tips for us less experienced players?
So I got a very big tip here.
I'm sure you do.
Very big tip.
It makes me laugh every freaking time, man. It makes me laugh every.
I don't know how I did not catch these words before they escaped my mouth, but they're there for everyone for the rest of eternity. So. Whatever.
It's so funny, dude.
No,
it's cool. I mean, it's so you, man. That's what's so funny about it.
Perfect. I love it. The question I had for you guys before I go into so if you aren't aware, if you go to SWGOH on your computer, not on your phone, because it doesn't show up on the phone for whatever reason. If you go on your computer, at the very top, there is a tab now that says Gear 13. And if you click on that tab, it will give you, there's about 5 different other tabs. So I'm going to bring it up on the screen so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
It is really awesome. I was looking through this the other day, and it gave me some ideas that I just have not heard talked about, and I want to talk to them about you guys. So before I go into these tabs and what's there, I want to ask you, what do you think the best character Gear 13 wise would be for GeoTBs? Like who are the priority characters as far as Gear 13 goes to help a full team? If you had to gear one in a team and you thought it would elevate that team to the point that they were going 4 for 4, can you think of any at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
I gear 13 to her.
Yeah.
So DACA's yours. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
I'm gonna bring up kind of a weird one. That we've seen a little bit, but not a lot. Emperor Palpatine. And the amount of special damage that he gets, and the amount of strength that he gets at Gear 13. To me, the reason why you see so much Palpatine is because of that right there. Now, you don't see a ton of people doing it yet. Whenever you go to that other sheet that shows all the characters, you don't see a bunch of people G13ing Palpatine. A bunch of players have him, though, with the 2 G12 5 pieces on him, because maybe back when they were working on getting Traya, there's only 65 people in the game that have it right now. But he does gain some pretty impressive stats on some of his stuff. So it is one to think about.
Yep.
And here's the thing about that, right? So he's pretty high on the list for special damage that he gets from Gear 13. Another one that can really help that Palpatine team as far as Gear 13 goes. Grand Moff Tarkin, you know that AoE ability, right? It's all special damage based off. You get extra offense based on his potency, right?
Right.
Well, Gear 13 gives him one of the highest boosts to special damage as well. He gets 1,046 extra special damage, bringing him... It's almost a quarter of his special damage is added at Gear 13. So that AoE that you can already supercharge will be even more supercharged if he's Gear 13. Not to mention all the protection and health he gains, because he's not the most tanky person. At least he wasn't before they added the extra protection on the old characters. I don't know how much he got, but keeping him alive can be very helpful as well. But I'm with you. I think Palpatine is a really good one, because when we were talking about it earlier and I was looking at this webpage while we were talking about it, Palpatine gets, I think, almost oh man,
Palpatine
he got a good
gets
chunk of health and protection.
Yeah, and I mean he has the most special damage difference between, even more than Bastila Shan Fallen, which is insane when you think about it, right? You're like, wait a second, yeah, he's gonna do real well.
We're talking percentage increase by going to Gear 13.
So I'm talking about just the flat number, right? So he has the, if you're on this tab, this G13, you go to the offense tab, then you go to special damage, and you go G13 plus to G13. He has the most, and then if you go to total diffs, or percent diffs, he's in that top group as well. So he is gaining a ton of crap at that level.
Palpatine seems all around to be very high up on these lists.
The same thing too is Mother Talzin. Same thing. Look at,
That's exactly who I was about to say.
Yeah.
750 increase in special damage.
Yep.
And like we were talking earlier about using an offense set on her, getting all that additional offense getting calculated into her mods is, massive. And she has a piece that already gives her 140 special damage. So that's she gets 190 special damage from just her first 3 Gear 12 pieces, and then everything she gets from the increase in tactics. I mean, that is a lot of stuff that's going to be extra calculated into her damage output, so she could be really nasty in Gear 13 too.
Agreed.
So this has been beaten into the ground since before GeoTB came out, but mine is obviously the one that I did, and that's Grievous, because all his damage is based on his max health, and this is funny, he does not have the highest health increase at Gear 13, which surprised me. At least, okay, sorry, base numbers he does, because he gets 26,000 health going from Gear 12 to Gear 13, which is huge for his damage. So he's a great one to have at Gear 13. If you went by percentage of what they had to what they get, he's actually lower than Biggs Darklighter, which I think is hilarious.
I saw that. That just makes me chuckle, doesn't it?
Like, Biggs literally doubles his health going from
like 90-something percent.
Yeah, 92% he gains. It's crazy.
You're like, what?
But Grievous is one of mine, so that's the one I did, and I'm glad that here's my hope, and I'm hoping that the more we get the Gear 13s and the more we get, we go along and see what comes along after GeoTB. I'm really hoping that that Gear 13 Grievous team expands throughout the different areas, because it's going to be good in GeoTB. It's good in GAC, and it's good in Territory Wars. I'm hoping that I can find time to mod it and try it out in Arena. I have not yet, but I'm thinking that that's going to be just pretty much an all-around really good Gear 13. So we'll see. But that is the one I chose.
You guys,
and only because Wampa didn't have Gear 12 plus pieces.
So again, a character we were talking about potency. This is a really interesting one, right? Commander Luke Skywalker gets 30% potency at Gear 13. That's
which
more
is
than the whole.
272% of
like,
his
what?
potency between
Yeah.
12 and 13.
Increase.
It's
Which
freaking
of-
nuts.
You
And even
know,
Han Solo, who going to gear 13, he gets 23%, which makes that turn meter removal. Well, I don't think his turn meter removal can be resisted, can it? I don't remember.
I think it can on his
Yeah,
basic.
I thought it could on the basic, so that makes it a little better off because it jumps from 12% to 35% for him.
It does make him a little worse under the CLS lead if you're trying to outspeed the turn meter. So if you're trying to use CL it, again, right? This is like a really weird thing where it's like you gain 5% turn meter if the enemy resists. So again, there were some people that were talking about this too with Anakin, because Anakin also gains 15% potency in his G13 piece, and so they were saying that the Anakin loop team didn't work as well in P3 of the heroic Sith raid with a G13 to Anakin.
Yeah, I heard that. I did actually.
And it's because he has more, because he gained potency.
Very interesting.
So there's some really like odd mechanics, subtypes where you're like, wait, there's actually a character I don't want to take to G13 for this weird reason right away.
Yeah.
No.
Go
figure.
So there's one thing.
Be wary.
There's one thing on this tab that I want to bring up to you guys and ask what you think about it. And it's so we've seen you guys have seen the videos about Candor Sordo at Gear 13, right? And how he's just a machine gun and he does all this damage now at Gear 13 because he literally has the highest physical damage differential from Gear 12 to 13 at 1587. Now the one that I want to talk about here, which I find freaking hilarious based on the history of this show. Magma Trooper, going from Gear 12 to 13, gains 1,300 physical damage, going from 3,000 to 4,300, which is only about 500 physical damage less than Candor's at this point. But what do you guys think of that? Because you're already using your troopers as a counter to Night Sisters or these teams where you want to get good AoE out there or to move past things. It seems to me that if you were to Gear 13 Magma Trooper and put some offense on him on top of his base offense now that he has with your mods, that he could be his double tap on his basic could be destroying as far as damage wise. Am I wrong in thinking that? Or does just no one care about Magma Trooper and that's why no one has thought of this?
I ain't gonna find out though.
See,
I mean,
Nobody cares.
alt account.
Have you seen Aura Singh's? I mean, Aura Singh does the same thing, right? I mean, Bistan, HK47, right? We turned Tebow in from a tank into a damage dealer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but Tebow is now a damage dealer. If you actually did Tebow, let's say somebody did G13 Tebow, where do you put him now? I mean, I don't know how the Ewok team would work if someone decided to G13 Tebow. Again, some of these stats make me really have to like rethink how I mod that character, or in my mind, I kind of put this character in a box, and you can't necessarily put these characters in the same box that you did as you did before.
Yeah, I mean, it's that way with when they added the protection upgrade for a lot of the older characters, and then along with if you were to Gear 13 some of these characters, it's completely changed a lot of these guys. And as we start moving towards seeing our roster become more yellow and orange rather than just yellow, there's going to be a lot of team shakeups, I feel like, as far as when you look at like the jumps and increases on some of these characters.
Sure.
A lot of them got left out because they were old and they didn't have the stats, but it seems like once you hit that Gear 12 to 13 hump, which is a massive hump because getting a lot of characters into that Gear 13 range is going to take a long time. So maybe 2 years from now, when we all have Gear 13 everything, you're going to be looking at
12 characters or 15 characters, right?
You're going to be seeing a lot different team comps, because the characters like Night Sister Initiate and Acolyte and Spirit, the ones that are left out, Zalbar, Zam Wessel.
G13, yeah, they might, yeah.
There's all these characters are going to be that much better, because if you look at like Sith Assassin is one that people are talking about at Gear 13. He went up another 1100 on his physical damage, and you've seen the type of damage he's putting out, you know, and he's really low down on this list. So if you haven't looked at this Gear 13 list on the SWGOH site, I know someone that Gear 13 Night Sister Acolyte and is in love with it because it's doing 60,000 damage on basic. Like,
totally understandable.
Like, there's some characters here where that's what you're gonna get, and people aren't even thinking about that. But I just thought this page was really interesting, because you can really see where the stat increases stack up, since the stats for the Gear 13 piece is different for every single character, and it just seems like they're trying to bring every character up to a place where it's usable, if that makes sense. I don't know. There's some really cool stuff in here. And
they seem to be making characters... They seem to be making a lot of these characters better at what they already do really well. This is my first time looking at the page, but there are a couple things that stand out to me a lot. One of them is Geonosis Soldier, who gains 10% crit chance by going to Gear 13. And he gains 50% turn meter whenever he lands a crit, so that is pretty big. But my first Gear 13 was Padme Amidala. And the reason I took her to Gear 13 was because she is my key to taking down Malak teams, and her increase on physical damage is she gets an 879 increase in physical damage, which is 27% increase to her total damage. Not only that, but she gained almost 10% crit chance. And not only that, but she gained a considerable amount of protection. And, you know, she gained a little bit of health. But she is one of those characters that I think is, you know, a huge key piece to take to Gear 13 if you use her, because of, you know, she gets so much better at what she does. And on the other side of that, since I use her against Darth Malak, I see a lot of Gear 13 Basilishan Fallens. And everybody has been suggesting you take Basilishan to Gear 13. I have noticed, however, that she is so much easier to kill at Gear 13. You know why?
Why is that?
Well, she gains a freaking shit ton of health. And, of course, when she also gets that 70% crit bonus, so when you're using Courage that does damage equal to her health percentage, I mean, you can truck through her health and protection very, very quickly, which is, you know, a lot of fun. Let's see, I'm trying to find her on here. She gains 10,000 health. It's a 30% increase in her base health stats. So the other thing that I think is really key for all of this is you see these big jumps in numbers, and we're so programmed, or have been for so long, in regards to mods, that we look at flat statistics. Flat health is so good. Flat offense is so good. Not for Gear 13. Whenever you're talking about these Gear 13 characters, for the most part, you're going to want to start switching to percentage increases. You know, percent offense, percent health. Especially a lot of these characters in Gear 13 is going to be considerably more than you would get with, you know, a similarly proccing flat statistic. So the lower the gear level, the better you're going to be off with flat statistics. And now, as we start hitting this Gear 12, Gear 13 threshold, your percent secondaries are going to become much, much better.
Yes. I agree. We've talked about this a lot on RSG. We've also Warrior made a video about God mods that are in a different category than just offense, flat offense, and speed, where you basically go through your roster and you go into the mod section, you select the mods, you filter by, let's say, flat defense, and then you also sort by flat defense, and then check these mods that you've got that procced 5 flat defenses. Do the same thing with percent defense. Do that same thing with your other stats, and you'll find sometimes that you had a stat that procced 4 times or 5 times in kind of a weird category. The one caveat to this that I see about G13 is, for the most part, a lot of characters do get a lot of physical crit chance. And I don't know if you guys have seen that, but a lot of characters do get a lot of physical crit chance and a lot of special crit chance. It means potentially mods with a crit chance primary or mods with a crit chance secondary have less value on a character that's already G13. It's just one of the minor things to think about. So we've got a lot of wins, but we also, as far as mods are concerned, we have a lot of wins as far as characters are concerned. We have a couple of characters that seem like they maybe they're a little bit of a loser, which conversely also means crit avoidance arrows got a stealth win on this thing.
100%.
So if it, I could now easily see someone making the argument for putting a crit avoidance arrow with plus 20 speed on a character. And that is to negate the crit chance that they got, and then to also negate and then it's and you're only losing out on like 3 or 4 or 5 speed. So.
Yep. I use a lot of crit avoidance arrows. I mean, I think even if you're getting in the mid-teens, if you get double-digit speed on crit avoidance arrow, I would have no issue taking it to 6-star because it is going to be good. Like, you can throw it on Kylo Ren Mask, you can throw it on any tank, Shore Trooper, whatever, and that's going to be a good mod. So yeah, that is a really, really good point. Before you consider taking a character to Gear 13, I highly suggest you guys go to this and go kind of sort through these stats. Go, like Grande just said, go sort through your mods, and do not hesitate. If you have a mod with really good offense percent secondary or health percent secondary, do not hesitate to take that up, because those two get significant boost. Your offense percentage gets tripled. Your health percent gets multiplied by 1.84, so an 84% increase. You get really nice bonuses from those, taking them 6-dot. So those should be really good candidates if you're trying to get specific characters up. For example, I've been doing that with Daka. That's how I've gotten her health so high, is really focusing in on stacking up as much, say health or whatever particular stat you are looking for. Kind of the same thing I did with Padme in regards to offense, and that works very well as well.
Okay.
Alrighty. So, Tesh Karn has given us two more quizzes on GeoTB to go over tonight.
Oh yeah, let me look this up. Where's the site we need to go to do this all together?
Quiziz.com. So QUIZIZZ.com/join is the site we use.
Okay.
For anyone out there, you can use the app on your phone, Quizzes, or you can go to the website I just quoted. Why don't you hit us with that intro there, Wink?
It's time for the sexy bearded duo to battle in their SWGOH knowledge in the most exciting trivia event in the Outer Rim. It's time for the Shattered Order Trivia. May the force be with you.
It's a trio tonight.
That's
what I'm
right.
saying. You know, I found this Yankee candle on my desk, and I don't know where it came from, but I can't stop sniffing it. I don't know why.
It probably came from the Yankee Candle Company.
Right, but why did they sneak in my house? That's the real question. Look, if we leave this on his desk, he'll talk about it.
Oh man, it's a shameless plug there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we go into this first one first.
Yes. So the first one we're doing is called Random New Passive. So if you're on the app, the code is 304200. That's 304200. I can find my mouse on the screen. There we go.
Okay.
304200. All right,
I'm ready.
in GMP.
I am ready as well.
All right, so we're going into the first question. Here we go. I see Forswearo and Joker in there with us. We'll see how we all do.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Come on, start it. I said start it. Do it. There it goes. 3, 2, 1. And the first question is... The Separatists gain a new passive called Blank in the new TB. Bug Party, Separatist Motives, Remote Synchronization, or Endless Battalion.
Damn.
Oh my
I'm
god.
not
dude.
sure.
Oh, wow. I got it wrong. I chose Endless Battalion. What did you guys pick?
I got it wrong too.
I chose Separatist Motives.
Well, that was the answer?
I
Okay,
got
because it
lucky.
didn't tell me what the right answer was. All right. Separatist
That was-
Motives
yep.
is what the new passive for Separatists
I was
is.
down between that and what you picked.
Yeah.
Tough one.
Okay,
I guess it's
next
not
one.
really a passive if I have to click on it to get a B2 droid, huh? Because I think Endless Battalion is the name of the button for the B2, and that's not passive. So I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh.
All right, second question. All Separatist allies gain a stack of Separatist motives when a Separatist blank kills an enemy, uses an ability, takes a turn, or assists an ally. All
I got it
Separatist
right.
allies gain a stack of Separatist motives when a Separatist
did I.
kills an enemy, uses an ability, takes a turn, or assists an ally. I got it wrong. I said assists an ally. The answer was kills an enemy.
Yeah.
I thought I remembered something about when someone assists and thinking to myself, what Geonosian assists besides freaking soldier calling in assists?
Well,
Maybe
but now
I'm
you
thinking
got
something else,
you got the
though.
Brood Alpha now, right?
Oh yeah, and he calls everyone to assist. So maybe that's all right. Before
All right.
10 stacks of before 10 stacks of Separatist motives, what does it do? 2% health recovery on turn, plus 1,000 max health and protection, plus 1 life. What? Plus 5,
What are we doing? Are we
5%
playing
more
Super Mario?
damage per stack. Yeah, no, it's a 1-up. Getting a 1-up. All right.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Ooh, I'm on a roll.
Oof, I got it wrong too. 5% more damage per stack. I chose 2% health recovery
Yeah.
on turn. I don't have an answer yet. That sucks. 4 out of 5. This is question 4 out of 5. After 10 stacks, it does some cool stuff. What does it not do? Allies benefit from allies' death, health equalization, extra healing, more damage.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, thank God I got one right. I chose
I got
health
it wrong.
equalization, which was the correct answer. So it does not.
think I
It does
saw it.
not health. Does not do health equalization. So there's that.
The last question? Okay, what's this?
I don't understand this last question. All right, how do I sign up? Question mark. You don't. It's free. Gear 13 watt tambor. 6 out of 6 on platoons and canyons. 50,000. 50.
Crystal.
Holy shit! What is that number? 5 million crystals with a comma in a weird spot.
The wrong spot. How do I? I don't know what the right answer is, but here we go. Hey, I got it right.
I don't even know what the question is.
I got it right.
It's a freebie.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
free.
okay.
I'm assuming he ran out of questions regarding these and had to put 5 questions in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been it. All right, so I got 2
All right,
out of 5.
I don't know.
Including
I
a
did.
f-
I got
in-
so bad. I don't even want to say. I think I got 2 out of 5 as well.
Including a free. Mine was one
I
of the
got
freebies.
all
So
5 correct.
wow. Wink.
Dang.
That
Well,
don't
you
happen
just-
very often.
I say
Okay.
just brag about it. All right,
Hell yeah.
we got one more game here, and this one is called Platoon Power.
Platoon Power.
Okay.
All right, let's see if I can at least get 2 again. All right, so your code is 853971. Again, the code is 853971. Well, this website. Well, I wait for this website to load. Here we go. 853971.
Sounds like a girl's phone number.
Yeah. 86753. All right. Oh God, there's okay. Random off-topic story here. There is a company in Phoenix, a bug pest control company that has the phone number 8675309, and that is the number to call for the pest control company. But the problem is, their jingle is one of those things where they don't want to get sued, so the jingle is like 3 notes off from the actual song.
Oh
And
gosh.
So every time you hear it, it's like the most annoying. They're like, call the number 8675309, and you're like, oh my God, why are they singing it so wrong?
They don't want to get copyrighted.
Yeah, they don't want to get. Every time you hear it, you're like,
they've done it like bluesy jazzy.
yeah, they're like, we're gonna go down here instead of up.
It's
It's
a little
totally
it's a little
different.
improv-y. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's
All right, Platoon Power. Here we go. Question 1 in 3, 2, 1, go. Platoon's got a big time upgrade this upgrade? I don't know about upgrade, but which of these is new to Geonosis territory battles? Improved stats, summoning an ally, new abilities, or diminishing enemy abilities? Hey, I got one right.
Hey,
Hey, 3 for 3.
there
The
we
answer
go.
was summoning an ally.
That's right.
Next question is, when do
Heck
you
yeah.
get to summon an ally? Phase 3 only, phase 2 only, phases 1 through 4, or phases 2 through 4?
Crap. I don't remember the answer.
Hey, I got it right.
I got it right too.
Boom, shakalaka.
How about you, Wink?
I
You
did
got
too.
it? All right, good.
Yeah,
Very happy
I
for
got
you. You can hear it in my voice.
it.
The answer was phases 2 through 4. Next question, question 3 of 5. The Hailfire tank ability is available in which zones? All bottom zones, middles, phases 2 through 4, or all zones phases 2 through 4?
Oh no, I missed one!
Oh no. I got that one wrong. I chose all bottom zones, but apparently
I missed it.
It is
I missed it as
something
well.
zones 2 through 4. All zones 2 through 4. Is that what it said?
No, middle.
The correct
Middle
answer
zones,
was my
2 through
first
4.
thought too.
Okay. I don't know. Oh, see, you know what? That was so dumb. There are no platoon powers in phase 1. So all bottom
know.
zones, that would have never worked.
No.
Oh, I could have had that right. All right. Anyway.
Hellfire. Hellfire ability. Does
The
all of the
Hellfire-
following accept?
Yes. All the following
It
except
should.
Dots,
should.
stagger, daze, tenacity down. Dots, stagger, daze, tenacity down. I hope it does.
No, I got it wrong.
The one I want it to do, it probably doesn't, so I'm going to click on
I
it.
got it right.
Nope. All right. It does do tenacity down, so that's good. The answer was daze. All right, question 5. As a result of fleet platoons, separatists equalize health at the start of their turns in which phases? 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 3, 4, or 4? I'm just going to click the one my mouse is on.
I think I got it
wrong.
right. You got it right.
Yes.
All right, I chose 4. The answer
did
was
too.
3 and 4. So I was able to get 2 out of 5 without a freebie. I feel pretty decent about that, except for the fact that I got the first 2 right and missed the last 3. Not a good way to finish.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Not too bad. I ended up going 4 out of 5.
Well, that means you
We,
went
we will
not-
expect for you to be number 1 in your guild from now on, Wink.
in everything.
In everything.
All things. All right. Well, that means 4 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10 for Wink. And how'd you do on that last one?
I did 3 out of 5 on the last one, so I got.
All right.
5
Hey, you
out of-
beat
5 out of-
me. What an accomplishment.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
Well,
I want to say thanks
Sunday,
again,
this was a hell of a
Grande,
lot of fun.
for visiting
Hey,
us.
thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And for anyone who's here that doesn't know, you guys can go on YouTube and search for Reality Skewed Gamers, and you can find me and Ranger J 1999, Infinity, and all of our crew over there, and come hang out and be part of our funny shenanigans where we talk about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and Battlefront and a couple of other games that we have a lot of fun with. And thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, go check them out. I think, what days are you guys on? What days
So,
can they
like,
expect to find you guys?
Like every day we're on, we do a Monday through Friday. We do a lunchtime stream at noon Eastern time, and we start right on the dot. And then we have a Wednesday stream. It's a Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and that's kind of our main stream where we go over all the news that's fit to cuss and discuss, basically.
Very nice. Very nice.
And then Saturday mornings, which is tomorrow morning, I think it's at 9 a.m. Eastern time, we do Jedi Academy. So that's where we take a lot of the former game changers, and we have a round table where we just answer questions until we're done and there's no more questions.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, that'll be fun.
Very fun.
So if you're here tonight
Check
and you
that
can
out.
manage to wake up in, what is that?
Yeah,
8 hours from now, if you can wake up,
Yes.
go check out Jedi Academy on RSG stream on YouTube. It'll be fun. I'm pretty sure I'll be awake then anyway, so we'll see what happens. But to everyone that's here, everyone that's listening to the podcast on the download, thank you for hanging out with us. I hope that your territory battle goes much better than it did the last time around, now that we got a little more information this time around. But for everyone that's listening to this that doesn't know, you can go to discord.me/shatteredorder. Come join us on Discord, in our Discord channel. We ask a lot of questions for content, what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to talk about. Once a blue moon at this point, we do a QA where anyone can ask anything they want in there, and we usually spend about 2.5 episodes going over all these questions. So there's a lot that you guys can do to form this show. So go check that out on our Discord. If you want to support the show, there's patreon.com/shatteredorder, or you can sub on Twitch. Both those things help us out a lot. There's a lot of craziness that goes on with putting on these shows and hosting them and everything else. So we appreciate everyone that helps us out. And Wink had something to say.
We'll be giving away gift cards to Twitch subbers and our Patrons next week, and covering all you guys. I haven't had time to get on and pull the lists and stuff, do the move. It's been busy and stuff. I've also had a lot of people asking about my internet. I will eventually have fiber. I'm not sure when. I can't wait. I can't wait. Eventually, I just don't know when.
Yeah, that's right. Wink will be much more regular once he starts having fiber.
One last thing to throw out.
Good, I'm impressed, Grande. Well done. Well done.
One last thing for all you
good.
baseball fans out there. The Angels just completed a combined no-hitter within 3 minutes ago. So, combined no-hitter over there in LA.
Nice.
Pretty awesome.
That's awesome, dude.
Anyways, thanks for hanging out, and we will catch you again on episode 157.
Next week.
All right.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Later.